My cognitive abilities help me to process information about the butterfly and the hummingbird's behavior and habits, which can be characterized as a way of life, is captured and framed in ISBN 978-976-9668980 and verbalized in podcast 124. The concept of culture has been debated in anthropological literature for at least 2 centuries and has acquired almost as many definitions as those trying to define it. However, according to Singer, recent definitions of culture have grown progressively more formal and abstract. Singer's expression has relevance and value in this space because it is accepted as the status quo. Status quo is a Latin phrase meaning the existing state of affairs, particularly with regard to social, political, or military issues. In the sociological sense, the status quo refers to the current state of social structure and/or values. Given the specificity of social structure in this context, as an author, cinematographer, media arts specialist, licensed cultural practitioner, podcaster, and publisher, I will employ my lens to focus, capture, frame, and learn a great deal more about the complex social behavior of the butterfly, which is an insect, and the hummingbird, which is a bird. For instance, a bird is categorized as a vertebrate, and an insect is categorized as an invertebrate. That said, insects or insecta from Latin are pancrusatcean hexapod invertebrate and the largest group within the arthropod phylum. Insects have a chitinous exoskeleton, a 3-part body, head, thorax, and abdomen. 3 pairs of jointed legs, compound eyes, and 1 pair of antennae. Insects are the most diverse group of animals. They include more than 1 million described species and represent more than 500,000 known living organisms. The word, I quote, insect, end quote, comes from the Latin word insectum. According to wikipedia.org, the life of butterflies is closely connected to flowering plants, which their larvae, caterpillars, feed on, and their adults feed and lay their eggs on. They have a long-lasting history of co-evolution with flowering plants. Many of the details of plant anatomy are related to their pollinators and vice versa. The other notable features of butterflies are their extraordinary range of colors and patterns, and their wings. Like moths, butterflies have 4 wings, covered with tiny scales. When a butterfly is not flying, its wings are usually folded over its back. The wings are patterned and are often brightly colored. There are many different kinds of butterflies. The males and females of each kind are often slightly different from each other. Butterfly watching is a popular hobby. Some people also keep collections of dead butterflies that they have got. Like all insects with complete metamorphosis, a butterfly's life goes through 4 distinct stages. It begins as an egg, which hatches into a larva, a caterpillar. After some time, the larva turns into the chrysalis. While it is in the chrysalis stage, it changes to become an adult butterfly. To complete the cycle, adults mate and the females lay the eggs. Butterflies, along with the moths and skippers, make up the insect order Lepidopterae. Butterflies are nearly worldwide in their distribution. A butterfly is a nectar-feeding insect with 2 pairs of large, typically brightly colored wings that are covered with microscopic scales. Butterflies are distinguished from moths by having clubbed or dilated antennae, holding their wings erect when at rest, and being active by day. Their lifespan is 40 days and their diet herbivory, nectar, pollen and honey. There are about 24,000 species of butterflies. The moths are about 140,000 species all over the world. Their wings are actually clear, and the colors and patterns we see are made by the reflection of the tiny scales covering them. They don't have noses and lungs. Adult butterflies and caterpillars breathe through a series of tiny openings along the sides of their bodies called spiracles. Cultural significance: they appear in an art dating 3,500 years ago to ancient Egypt. The largest known butterfly is the Queen Alexandra's birdwing Ornithoptera alexandrae of Papua New Guinea. Females may have a wingspan exceeding 11 inches, 28 centimeters. Conversely, birds, on the other hand, are widely regarded as symbols of freedom and eternity due to their ability to soar into the skies. There is a view held by experts that bird symbolism exists all over the world as part of different cultures, religions, and traditions. Therefore, every bird is uniquely breathtaking and symbolizes certain aspects of our lives, nature, and the unknown world. It is at this juncture that I wish to introduce the hummingbird because of its way of life. Birds are a group of warm-blooded vertebrates constituting the class Aves, characterized by feathers, toothless beaked jaws, the laying of hard-shell eggs, a high metabolic rate, a 4-chambered heart, and a strong yet lightweight skeleton. Birds live worldwide and range in size from the 5.5 centimeters, 2.2 inches, bee hummingbird to the 28 meters, 9 feet 2-inch ostrich. There are about 10,000 living species, more than half of which are passerine or perching birds. Birds have wings whose development varies according to species. The only known groups without wings are the extinct moa and elephant birds. Wings, which evolved from 4 limbs, give birds the ability to fly, although further evolution has led to the loss of flight in some birds, including ratites, penguins, and diverse endemic island species. The digestive and respiratory systems of birds are also uniquely adapted for flight. Some bird species of aquatic environments, particularly seabirds and some water birds, have further evolved from swimming. Wikipedia defines a hummingbird as a tiny, colorful tin-beaked birds get their name from the humming noise that occurs when they flap their wings very fast. It is reported that all 350 species of hummingbirds are natives of the New World, which includes North and South America, Sycar, the early 16th century during the European Age of Discovery. This way of life as it relates to hummingbirds, according to Wikipedia, with about 360 species, they occur from Alaska to Tierra del Fuego, but the vast majority of the species are found in the tropics. They are small birds, with most species measuring 7.5 to 13 centimeters, 3 to 5 inches in length. The smallest extant hummingbird species is the 5 centimeter or 2.0 inch bee hummingbird, which weighs less than 2.0 gram or 0.07 ounces. The largest hummingbird species is the 23 centimeter or 9.1 inch giant hummingbird, weighing 18 to 24 grams, 0.63 to 0.85 ounces. They are specialized for feeding on flower nectar, but all species consume flying insects or spiders. They hover in midair at rapid wing flapping rates, which vary from around 12 beats per second in the largest species to around 80 per second in small hummingbirds. Of those species that have been measured during flying in wind tunnels, their top speeds exceed 15 meters per second or 54 kilometers per hour to 35 miles per hour. During courtship, some male species dive from 30 meters, 100 feet of height above a female at speeds around 23 meters per second. Hummingbirds have the highest mass-specific metabolic rate of any homeritic animal. To conserve energy when food is scarce and nightly when not foraging, they can go into a torpor, a state similar to hibernation, and slow their metabolic rate to 1/15 of its normal rate. The more I research this topic, I am unearthing more facts about the hummingbird. According to Melissa Mayans, brightly colored and mesmerizing hummingbirds are some of the most interesting of the nearly 10,000 bird species in the world. If you live in the United States, you've probably seen them fluttering around during the summertime. Perhaps you've heard them too. A hummingbird's brilliant throat color is not caused by feather pigmentation, but rather by iridescence in the arrangement of the feathers, light level, moisture, angle of viewing, wear and tear, and other factors all influence just how bright and colorful the throat may appear. Hummingbirds cannot walk or hop, though their feet can be used to scoot sideways while they are perched. These birds have evolved smaller feet to be lighter for more efficient flying. They will use their feet for itching and preening, however. Hummingbirds have 1,000 to 1,500 feathers, the fewest number of feathers of any bird species in the world. Not only do they not need as many feathers because of their tiny size, but fewer feathers also keeps them more lightweight for easier flight. Roughly 25 to 30% of a hummingbird's weight is in its pectoral muscles. These are the broad chest muscles principally responsible for flying. An average hummingbird's heart rate is more than 1,200 beats per minute. In comparison, a human's average heart rate is only 60 to 100 beats per minute at rest. Hummingbirds have no sense of smell, but have very keen eyesight. Hummingbirds lay the smallest eggs of all birds. Their eggs measure less than half an inch long, but may represent as much as 10% of the mother's weight at the time the eggs are laid. A hummingbird egg is smaller than a jelly bean. In relation to their diet, a hummingbird must consume approximately 1/2 of its weight in sugar daily, and the average hummingbird feeds 5 to 8 times per hour. In addition to nectar, these birds also eat many small insects and spiders, and may also sip tree sap or juice from broken fruits. Hummingbirds do not suck nectar through their long bills. Instead, they lick it with fringe forked tongues. Capillary action along the fringe of their tongue helps draw nectar up into their throats as they can swallow. A hummingbird can lick 10 to 15 times per second while feeding. Hummingbirds digest natural sucrose, the sugar found in floral nectar, in 20 minutes with 97% efficiency for converting the sugar into energy. A hummingbird's maximum forward flight speed is 30 miles per hour. These birds can reach up to 60 miles per hour in a dive, and hummingbirds have many adaptations for unique flight. A hummingbird's wings beat between 50 to 200 flaps per second, depending on the direction of flight, the purpose of their flight, and the surrounding air conditions. The ruby-throated hummingbird flies 500 miles non-stop across the Gulf of Mexico during both its spring and fall migrations. You might have heard that these tiny birds ride on the back of other birds during migration. This is a myth. They fly this distance entirely on their own. The peak fall migration period for hummingbirds is from mid-July through August or early September, depending on the route and the exact species. Species that nest further north begin migration earlier. At rest, a hummingbird takes an average of 250 breaths per minute. Their breathing space will increase when they are in flight. Depending on the species, habitat conditions, predators, and other threats to hummingbirds, the average lifespan of a wild hummingbird is 3 to 12 years. In this discourse, I have included myth and culture because within this context, mythology has a key role in civilization and cultural movements throughout the history. For example, according to Wikipedia, Trinidad and Tobago, known as the land of the hummingbird, displays a hummingbird on that nation's coat of arms, 1-cent coin, and emblem of its national airline, Caribbean Airlines. At the end of the day, to put it succinctly, the lifespan of a hummingbird is 3 to 5 years. Their diet includes omnivore, mosquitoes, and fruit flies. A hummingbird's brain is larger in comparison to body size than any other bird. They have a terrific memory. They know every flower in their territory and how long it will take each flower to refill. Hummingbirds remember year to year where each and every hummingbird feeder is, both at home and along a migration path, and find that path of flowers or hummingbird feeder again using visual landmarks. The largest hummingbird species is 23 centimeters or 9.1 inches. A giant hummingbird weighing 18 to 24 grams or 0.63 to 0.85 ounces. And the smallest breed is bee hummingbird. Not to mention the distinctive breed which is called an Anna's hummingbird. A hummingbird is a small bird with a long, narrow beak used for extracting nectar from flowers. They have no sense of smell but can hear much better than humans. During courtship, the ruby-throated hummingbird, Orchotis cobras, can produce a wing beat rate of 200 beats per second. Their heart beats up to 1,200 beats per minute, placing them second behind the pinf shrew, 1511 beats per minute. For the fastest beating heart of all animals, hummingbirds are the only birds that can fly backward, thanks to a wingspan that usually exceed their full length by at least 1/4 of an inch. They are uniquely breathtaking and symbolizes certain aspects of our lives, nature, and the unknown world. Overall, now that I have provided context by defining what is a butterfly and a hummingbird respectfully, these definitions give me license, description of nature, scope, and meaning of these subject matter, the butterfly and the hummingbird, especially their way of life, which can be construed as behavior and habits that are typical of a particular bird and insect that are chosen by them. Moreover, I was also better able to navigate the few differences between a hummingbird as a vertebrate and a butterfly as an invertebrate. A hummingbird has feathers, a butterfly don't. A hummingbird uses their wings to stay airborne while a butterfly uses them to fly. The main difference between wings of a butterfly and a hummingbird is that the wings of a butterfly lack bones, whereas the wings of a hummingbird has bones. Importantly, the wings of a butterfly has a number of longitudinal veins which are cross-connected, while the wings of a hummingbird is covered with feathers. When the proverbial dust is settled, it should be noted that within a cultural geographical context, insects such as butterflies have 2 pairs of wings, while birds such as hummingbirds have a single pair of wings. Wings of insects and birds are 2 analogous structures developed in unrelated organisms in order to adapt similar environmental conditions. According to Marie Ann Otte, butterflies are attracted to bright colors, and butterflies and hummingbirds both like high nectar plants. Another consideration is providing plants for all stages of the butterfly's short life. For instance, adding a water feature such as a bird bath and rocks for sunning on, and different species of butterflies prefer different plants. Finally, my cognitive abilities help me to process information about the butterfly and the hummingbird's behavior and habits, which can be characterized as a way of life, is captured and framed in ISBN 978-976-9668980 and verbalized in podcast 124.